Alright, so I was just going through YouTube, scrolling around. I found this dude on YouTube, John Boxing. Now, shout out to him. I'm about to debunk his points over here. But before I do, shout out to him. He's a channel with strong opinions. So, if you got strong opinions and you want to record yourself giving out those opinions, then fair enough. Because those opinions are going to give you an audience, whether people like it or not. Those opinions are going to drive an audience like me. You know, I'm literally making a response video instead of typing up my comments. I'm gonna make a response video right here. But I actually have two videos here. This is Naoya Inoue's resume proves he's a Hypejob. Also got this video here. Black fighters need to fight each other. This is a new tactic because he says something in this video that completely contradicts one of his points that Inoue is a Hypejob. So that should be fun to go over. I guess shout out to John Boxing or whatever. Hope you don't strike me or whatever. Cause come on, I'm giving you the props over here. Keep doing what you're doing, man. So let's watch. I'm gonna react to your points here. I'm gonna debunk it. Just to clarify, I already watched this video. I already listened, like I said, because there's a point he makes here that completely contradicts what he says here. So I already listened to them, so I already know what he's gonna say. So without further ado, let's listen to what this guy got to say.
By a lot of people, he's not liked based on what he brings to the sport of boxing. He's liked based on where he's from and how he looks. That is the truth.
So saying Naoya, in a way, is only liked because he's Japanese and he's Asian, and not because that he's one of the best pound for pound fighters of the world. Tremendous skills, has beaten opponents bigger than him, has beaten a lot of dangerous opponents, dangerous contenders. He's cleared out his division as well. Well, other fighter has cleared out the division. Terence Crawford didn't clear out his division of 154, 168. When Terence Crawford fanboys said that 154 was going to be easy, Crawford didn't think it was going to be easy. That's why he cherry picked Canelo.
Naoya Inoue is a Japanese fighter. He's the exception, but not the rule. And because of that, a lot of fans parade him around like he's the best fighter in boxing because of where he's from and how he looks.
I already said he's the best fighter in the world because, well, he's one of the best fighters in the world because he's one of the best fighters, highly skilled. I can just repeat this over and over again, but you already know, I guess.
People are tired of seeing the same old fighters being dominant in the sport of boxing. And when they have something that's different, that's doing okay in the sport of boxing. So boxing fans will settle for someone like Inoue and parade him around like he's the best fighter because they don't want to acknowledge the fighter that they hate as being the best fighter, even though the fighter that they hate deserves to be considered the best fighter in the sport of boxing.
Now, he's not going to say what the fighter I quote unquote hate. He doesn't specifically say in this video, but I'm just going to assume it's, guys like Shakur, Terence Crawford, black fighters, to keep it blunt. Black American fighters. Now, first of all, I don't hate any of these fighters. Like this guy, I have strong opinions about these fighters that I believe are facts. All right. Now, first of all, he said, "Nah, Inoue is doing okay." Well, how is Inoue doing okay? Accomplishment-wise, Inoue blows Shakur out of the water. All right, even opponents-wise, he's gonna go over the opponents. Because one of his main points is that just Inoue hasn't fought nobody, quote unquote. Inoue has fought. He has a better resume than Shakur. Shakur's best opponent is now Teofimo Lopez. Again, I'm arguing that Nonito Donaire is a way better opponent than Teofimo Lopez, especially because Teofimo Lopez, that guy did that guy even try? Did Teofimo Lopez even try?
You see, when you ask each individual what makes Inoue the best fighter in boxing, they'll talk about his belts. They'll talk more about his belts than the opponents that he fought.
All right, well, I'll talk about the opponents he's fought. I already mentioned Nonito Donaire, who is a legend in his own right. To show how much of a legend Nonito Donaire is, on December, what is he, 43? At like 43, 44 years old, he went in there and fought Seiya Susumi, a younger world title holder, and he was going tit for tat. They were going a back and forth war. No need to Donaire. In my opinion, I didn't think he won, but there were some fans who thought he should have won. It was a very close battle. He almost knocked him down. He hurt him. He hurt Susumi really badly. That shows how much of a legend Nonito Donaire is. That even at his old age, he's able to go in there and fight toe to toe with a young, undefeated world title holder. And even coming into the two Inoue fights, Nonito Donaire was coming off of 2 knockout wins. He was coming out of his best form, so he might have been old, quote unquote. But in terms of the best that he could be at his age, Nonito Donaire was at his best at that certain time. Now, other guys, you got Stephen Fulton, pretty good fighter, of course, 2 division champion. 2 division, right? Yeah, 2 division champion. Stephen Fulton, like, people not downplaying Stephen Fulton. Look, Inoue was always going to beat Stephen Fulton, in my opinion, but Fulton is a good fighter. He is a good fighter, so that is a good win. Like, come on. Like, what are you going to say? Oscar Valdez? Because Oscar Valdez will probably be Shakur's second best opponent. Who is better, Oscar Valdez or Stephen Fulton? But Oscar Valdez, basic fighter, high guard. Eddie Reynoso, like a basic Eddie Reynoso fighter, high guard, one shot at a time. Like Oscar Valdez is a good fighter, I would say as well. Stephen Fulton, it's probably not. You could probably take it or leave it. It's probably the same level. Then you also got guys like Murjan Akhmadaliev, who is a good fighter too. Probably not probably. He is a tier below Stephen Fulton, but that is a good fighter as well. All right, so like, Inoue has some good opponents. Like off that, like Inoue has a better resume than Shakur. Because what, like Teofimo Lopez and Oscar Valdez, they're good opponents, but they're not mind blowing like a Nonito Donaire at that point. I think after that, Shakur just has like a bunch of nobodies. Like it's like you want to say Inoue has a bunch of nobodies. Like who does Shakur have after that? They have Artem, who's coming off of a loss against Frank Martin. Got Conceição, who should have never been a world title holder because Oshaki Foster got robbed in the first fight. What Nicotilla, who gets stopped by every prospect Top Rank has. What Murataya and Abdullah Mason. Like who can you pinpoint another good opponent for Shakur? Even if he's not talking about Shakur, what Crawford? Even though he's retired, like honestly, who has Crawford beat as well? Canelo. Is Canelo as good as Nonito Donaire? Canelo can only wishes he can have the strength that Nonito Donaire has. Nonito Donaire at 43 is pound for pound levels above Canelo. Honestly, this is my Twitter right here. Just to show that I'm not BSing, that I'm not just saying this because of hindsight. I'm gonna go to my Twitter, then go to my page, search up, just to show you that I'm not just saying this. Here we go. This is a picture right here with the tweets. What does it say? May 24th, 2025. Last year, Crawford gonna beat Canelo. So I already knew ahead of time that Crawford is going to beat Canelo. So I'm showing you that just to show you that I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. I'm not just saying this out of hindsight 2020. Canelo was old. He's slow. I knew Crawford was going to beat Canelo because of those attributes right then and there. All right, Canelo wishes he can move like no need to Donaire. No need to Donaire pound for pound is much better than Canelo. After that, who is it? Like Earl Spence, who was drained coming off a car crash as well. Victor Postol, one of the most overrated performances of Crawford's career. And then, like, well, who else? Israel Madrimov, who was Virgil Ortiz beat him as well, and he's coming off a shaky performance. That's not looking like a win that's gonna age well. Bro, I'm struggling to name these guys off the top of my head. Like you want to talk about names? Like Shakur and Crawford arguably have even worse names than Inoue.
We know in boxing, fighters are who they beat. Fighters are not made based on the amount of belts that they've collected. They are made based on who they beat. And no one seemed to never be able to have a full conversation about the opponents that Inoue has beaten.
Well, I just did.
Ever.
All right.
When you question them and ask them, who are the fighters that elevated Inoue?
All right.
They can never answer that. They can never tell you a specific opponent that elevated Inoue to pound for pound status.
Need to done
say
man.
That all these belts is what elevated Inoue. Of those.
I didn't mean to fast forward, but whether he's just gonna repeat himself. But like belts, the thing with belts is like they strengthen your view, or they strengthen your accomplishment. You know, these titles. Some people can say they don't matter. Maybe they don't matter, but they just enhance your position as one of the best fighters in the world. So if you're undisputed and you cleared your division, you prove that you are the man, then all the belts reinforce you being the man, if you know what I'm saying.
Those belts that Inoue has collected. But these individuals that parade Inoue around like he's the best fighter.
Also remember, he just mentioned that they only mentioned the belts. They only mentioned the belts. The belts don't matter, it's the opponents. Let me just quickly go on to this video right here.
Defending his undisputed titles. Even though he won his undisputed titles, they're criticizing him for not defending his undisputed title. Terrence Crawford's 38 years old. He's been in the sport of boxing for a very long time, and he made history. The first male fighter to become undisputed in 3 weight classes. The first male fighter to become undisputed in 2 weight classes. But that wasn't enough when it comes to the anti-black boxing community.
So why are you bigging up Crawford for being undisputed in these so many weight classes? Why does it matter for Crawford, but it doesn't matter for Inoue? I mean, like Crawford, his undisputed one at 140 is one of the, in terms of the 4 belt era, it's on the bottom. He beat guys like, bro, I don't even remember the guys he beat. Like, so for Crawford, being undisputed, having all these belts, it elevates Crawford, but for Inoue, it's a criticism for Inoue. You see how that works? You see how they will use 1 point to prop up, their favorite fighter, Crawford, and I guess Shakur as well. I guess these guys, Shakur, Devin Haney, Tank, and Keyshawn. They will use 1 point to discredit guys like Inoue, but use that exact same point to up these guys,
Seems not ever want to talk about the previous owners of Inoue's belts. You see, fighters are who they beat, and I stand behind that. You know, I hear a lot of people say, well, John Boxing, the fighters that Inoue has beaten were highly ranked in his weight classes. You know, I don't know if you guys remember the New Orleans Saints going to the playoff with a losing record.
all right, so he's going over some football analogy, but before that, he actually mentioned who were the people that, in a way, beat to become champion because these titles had to have came from someone. All right, so I mean, let's check ourselves. So to become undisputed, I mean, we could just start from the beginning. I guess he became a world title holder in his 6th fight. Again, like when you do stuff like this shows how much of a good fighter you are. You're not cherry picking your career. You're not holding off fighting bums, racking up 20 wins against nobodies. You're going straight to the top because you're ready. If you're ready, then go for it. If you're ready, go for it. Um, he has good wins against Emmanuel Rodriguez. We talked about Anita Donaire and stuff like that. Twice Stephen Fulton, Marlon Tapales, a very underrated fighter. He would give a lot of guys fits. Luis Neary, again, another underrated fighter. I'm basically talking about the bantamweight or the super bantamweight division is because that's mostly because we're this is the era that Inoue is fighting in. This is the division he's fighting in right now. So I skipped all those other divisions because it would have just taken too long. But for super bantamweight, again, Stephen Fulton, good fighter. Marlon Tapales, underrated fighter. Luis Neary, again, a good opponent, underrated fighter. TJ Doheny, okay, that was a touch up. I mean, this is a last minute opponent, but it was supposed to be Sam Goodman. And if it was Sam Goodman, then, well, Sam Goodman, is a good fighter. Roman Cardenas, you have to wait until on him to determine that win. Merjan Akamdaliev, again, a good opponent. David Casa will have to wait until what happens with him. But again, his points of where did these belts come from? I mean, let's look at one of his favorite fighters, Shakur Stevenson. Where did Shakur's belts come from? When did Shakur win his first title? He won against Joet Gonzalez. What does that say right there? What does that say right there? Vacant. It was a vacant title fight, meaning he didn't beat a champion to become a champion. Inoue, I mean, if you notice, Inoue's first title fight, his first title win was against a champion. So he beat a champion to become a champion. Shakur did not beat a champion to become a champion in his first world title fight. And guess what? It didn't. It happened again. Edwin De Los Santos. What does that word say again? Think it. So again, Shakur did not beat a champion to become a champion. So you can't really say it for Inoue. You can say it for Shakur. Who were the guy? Where did Shakur get his belts? Where did they come from? Did they come out of his ass? I mean, they probably did. He won a vacant title. He didn't beat a champion to become a champion, and he didn't even solidify himself to become the man at featherweight featherweight or 135. Some people would say, he is the man at 135. You can say that, but you have no proof because Shakur has not proven himself to be the man at 135. His best opponent is William Zepeda. Tevin Farmer hurt Zepeda more times than Shakur has ever. Well, Tevin Farmer with what, like 5 knockouts in his record, hurt Zepeda more times. I mean, Shakur didn't even hurt Zepeda once. Alright, you can call Shakur the best at 140 because he beat Teofimo Lopez. He has the ring title, whatever. That's fine. But at 135, you can't. He won a vacant title again, so he didn't beat the champion to become a champion, and he is yet to fight the other champions, Raymond Murataya, all that type of stuff. But guess what? He's not even going to go back to 135 to do that. So, again, Shakur's not a champion at 135. And I don't know what he's talking about, like some Super Bowl stuff.
What happens? A team under 500 going to the playoffs rarely happens. Yes, he's fought some good fighters there, just like the New Orleans Saints has played some good teams. Okay.
I don't watch football. I don't watch football, so I don't get the analogy. Sorry.
The Saints, the only season that they make it out with a losing record, has played some good teams, and they've beaten some good teams, but still they finished the year with a losing record and made the playoffs.
Well, here's the thing. So, like, he's talking. I guess let me just bring up the point. He's talking about a losing team or a team with a losing record making it to the playoffs. Here's the thing: do they win the Super Bowl? Do they win the Super Bowl? Because if you're equating that to Inoue, guess what? Inoue has become undisputed in these divisions, meaning he's won the Super Bowl. Do any of these guys win the Super Bowl? Did the team with the losing record, did they win the Super Bowl? All right. Did these guys merge on or whatever? Did they become undisputed, aka win the Super Bowl? No. Inoue knocked him off, proved that he was the man, he was the best.
Inoue has fought weak competition. Yes, he's ran into some solid fighters, but overall, the majority of his career, he has been fighting nothing but weak level competition, and this is why no one really focused on the opponents that this man has beaten.
Well, I just did,
man. So with that, Inoue falls in the Hypejob category.
If Inoue falls in the Hypejob category because of that, then where does Shakur fall in? What category does Shakur fall in? Please tell me. I'd like to know, man. Because I just proved that Shakur has an even worse resume, and his accomplishments don't even rack up to Inoue.
Because he doesn't have the body and work. His resume is extremely weak. The best fighters in boxing are the fighters who beat the very best. Vasily Lomachenko was the man. Teofimo Lopez was the man. Arthur Beterbiev was the man. Tyson Fury was the man. You get where I'm going, right? All these fighters that I just mentioned were celebrated. They were paraded around as being...
So Naoya Inoue is the man right now. He is the man right now. He solidified himself as the man. When there was no other person that was considered quote unquote the man, then you become yourself the man by proving that you're the man. I'm saying the man too much, but bear with me. By doing so, you knock off all the contenders, all the pretenders, to prove that you are the one and only guy in your division. It's as simple as that, alright? Because obviously, what some guys, they're gonna move up in the division, they're gonna retire or such, so you can't fight the previous man or whatever. So what you gotta do, you gotta prove yourself by beating, like I said, by beating all the contenders, all the pretenders, by being the one and sole champion of your division. That's how you become the man. So Naoya Inoue is the man by doing so. Alright, so Tyson Fury, I guess what's considered the man. Who did he beat? Vladimir Klitschko. Well, what did Vladimir Klitschko did to become the man? Because he didn't fight or beat Lennox Lewis. He had to prove himself that he was the one and only heavyweight champion by beating all the contenders and all that type of stuff. And so he became the self-proclaimed man of the division. That's why when Tyson Fury beat Klitschko, Tyson Fury was considered the man. That's Naoya Inoue. He's beating all the guys, all the contenders, so he is the man of the division.
Being the man because they were the man. The boxing world respected these fighters, and these fighters that I just listed were all opponents. Devin Haney beat Vasily Lomachenko. Dimitri Bivol beat Arthur Beterbiev. Alexander Usyk beat Tyson Fury. Shakur Stevenson just beat Teofimo Lopez. Fighters are who they beat. So we cannot point to any fighter that Inoue has beaten and say that fighter was the man. That fighter...
I don't like to repeat myself, but you already know what I'm going to say. No need to go there. Proven and solidified. This is turned into like a no need to donate praise type of thing, but it's true. No need to donate is a legend, and he is the guy that made Naoya Inoue pretty much like the top of these lists. You know, I mean, Inoue was always on the top of these lists. He always was. No need to donate just solidified it, in my opinion. I would say he's the best. He's one of the best opponents in his resume. Stephen Fulton again. Like, don't just bash Stephen Fulton because he lose. Here's the thing. This guy's a pro Black American channel, but yeah, he's downgrading Stephen Fulton. Why are you diminishing Stephen Fulton like that? Because he lost in a way? Stephen Fulton's a good fighter. Why are you diminishing Stephen Fulton like that? 2 division champion? Come on, man. I don't like repeating myself, and I think he pretty much just repeats himself throughout this video. So I'm just gonna end it right here. John Boxing. Continue making your videos, man. Maybe make some other good ones. Maybe I'll react to them too.